Hi, welcome to Live the Health You Want. I'm here with Manuela Eisele from Switzerland, and I met her at one of our wonderful JT Francie Baldwin meetings, and we have a lot in common. She's a health advocate, she's a health coach, she's also a successful entrepreneur, and we're going to let her tell you a little bit about the things she's involved in. She's climbed so many mountains and even a volcano, so hopefully we hear a little bit about those adventures too. So Manuela, what do you most want the viewers to know about you?
Well, first of all, Stephanie, many thanks for the invite and being here. I'm very excited, actually. It's really cool to share, to share knowledge, to share my stories. Well, at the end for me is I want to help people, right? I want to help people to have a happier, healthier life. And this
Page.
is in every, yeah, and it's in every area. So when it comes in your job, how can you be more happy, in your health, what can you do to uplift your life?
So, and I agree. I think we get so involved. Our private universes are so busy, and we're bombarded with messages all day long from a variety of screens. And then we're dealing with the impact of the EMFs from those screens and also other things that are going on. I mean, our bodies are so resilient. I often marvel that I've made it this long without more, bad effects on the body, how resilient it is. So, I'm a huge health advocate. I plan to be 140 years old, so I consider myself middle-aged. So I think one of the things that made me want to interview you the most was that you said you could do a blood test, a dry blood test that people could send in so they didn't have to go get blood drawn. Do you want to, I mean, we don't
Yeah.
have to start there, but I was just something I thought of that was so interesting and I'd never heard of that. So maybe we'll start with something like that.
Yeah, let's start. There are a lot of topics we can talk. I mean,
Yeah, like blood work. I think
yes,
people need to do more blood work. Don't you agree? For
yeah, and
screening?
I think yes, it's important. I think the first one is like prevention, right?
Yes.
Need people like really need to take care of themselves. So it's about it's can be called either self-leadership or it's really taking care of your health. You are
Right.
responsible for your health.
Exactly.
So, and what are you doing to improve it? There are different, you can work with energies, with, you have different tools to how you can improve your health, but it's your own responsibility and you have to own it. So, and for example, also like an athlete and I love to climb a lot of mountains and alpinist. And I always like took care of my health or of the nutrition. This is what I thought. And then a friend of mine came to me and she said like, oh, have you done a blood test to really see, you know, where you are, your status quo? And my initial reaction was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm healthy and I'm doing well, but why not? I'm always a curious person, right? And then I did a dry blood test. You can do that at home. You just poke the finger and this is mainly measuring the balance between omega-6 and omega-3. That's why it's
Oh,
called
oh,
a
so you got an
test.
omega profile. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So, and it's not only omega, it's all 11 essential fatty acids.
Wow.
And essential, your body needs it. Your body needs it, either through nutrition or through supplements. And I guess like the food industry has changed a bit the nutrition,
Right.
right?
So
The quality of
even
nutrition.
more so, we need to be responsible for ourselves. We need to get the information.
Exactly.
We need to verify. We need to really know what's going on. And the omega-3s are so important because I just read recently, if you're not getting enough omega-3s, your brain shrinks. Is that true? I just got chills at saying it.
Yeah. So the thing is like 60% of your brain is fatty acids. It's the omega-3, the EPA and the DHA. So what happens if your brain doesn't get enough of these nutrients, right?
Right.
Then it will cause some damages. So for example, chronic disease or Alzheimer, And you need to feed your brain with the right nutritions.
So I
And
would
I think most people don't
sorry.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would put that at the top of the list, is to monitor your omegas. What's your ratio?
Yes.
Do you have enough threes? I have to tell you, for decades, I tried to get enough three from plant sources. And I didn't want to do algae because someone told me if you do algae, it really flushes out and you get a lot of toxic, it's so I couldn't get it from flaxseed or flax oil. Fish oil is the only thing that really worked for me, although I didn't really want to do the fish, although I guess they clean all the mercury out of it now. That's my
No,
opinion.
I think yeah. So with the omega-3, there are 4 fatty acids. The first one is the plant-based. It's the ALA, which is, as you mentioned, in flax seeds, in linseed oil, in blueberries, spinach. You can easily get it from your nutrition. You can have like a table of linseed oil every day, or walnuts, and this is really important. But this is not enough. So, but then you need the marine-based
You do.
omega-3. The other 3. It's either fish or it's algae. Actually, it's algae is also possible. So if you don't like fish, then you can use the algae, but the flax seeds is not the marine-based. So
Right.
marine is from the
That's what we
source
need.
of the ocean, right? So this is important to understand. And what has helped me is to have a test, because how would you know if you're in balance or not? I mean, some people feel, but for example, me, I didn't feel I was so much out of balance, right? But when I did the test and I realized, okay, because I eat everything, but I don't really eat much fish, to be honest. I eat fish once a month.
Yeah.
I don't, when I go for sushi, I have some algae, but I don't really eat much algae. So you would need 4 to 5 times fish a week or algae a week to
That's a
get
lot. That's a lot of fish.
yeah. So this is a lot. And this is
Yeah.
also like, it's just
So
not my lifestyle.
the supplement's easier.
The supplements is easier, and it's also better quality, because
Good
let's say
point.
if you take the fish, maybe there's a lot of toxic in our oceans and so on.
Oh, okay. So,
And then you go from a bit from this guest-based to test-based.
okay.
You stop guessing, and then you find out and you have
Yes.
something black on white.
I
Where
love to
you
get blood work
really,
done because so what happened
yeah.
with your test? You said you were surprised when you did your blood work that it didn't come back as well
So
as you thought, because you are an athlete and you look very healthy. You're probably like 8% body fat, something like that.
yeah, maybe a bit more, but not so much. Well, I had a huge deficiency in omega-3,
Okay.
but I had very low omega-6. So I eat quite healthy. So if you eat healthy, then maybe your omega-6 intake is not so much. So my balance was okay, but my omega-3 values were terrible. And they were minus 85 from the target, right? So there was a huge deficiency I had. And then I started to take the oil. And first I'm like, you always want to feel something, like I want to feel much better, but I already felt good before. So I'm like, okay, I don't feel anything. And then after 4 months, 120 days, then you do a retest. And
Right.
then
Nice.
I've seen everything from changing from red to either yellow or green already. And I'm like,
Nice. Nice.
oh, okay. Then it
Really?
was like, first of all, like motivated, I'm a very ambitious person. So I like numbers and I like tests, so that motivated to keep going.
Right. Right.
And then let's say like it took a few more weeks, and then I've noticed other things, because I never could sleep through. But I think I never slept through my whole life, and out of a sudden I can sleep for a couple hours, like 5-6 hours in a row.
And that's unusual for
And
you.
and this was really unusual for me,
That's
so
very
I could
healthy to
really
get,
rest.
very healthy to
So
improve
I could
sleep
really rest.
quality. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I had always these crunching knees, and my physiotherapists are like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just noisy. But I'm like, yeah, but I feel a bit
You need,
old, and it just didn't.
right. You
It
needed a
was
lubricant.
yeah, and again, this is like, and then I've been now taking that for, I think it's almost 2 years,
Yeah.
and every day I feel like now, like, wow, this improved. And I think last year when I went a lot of mountaineering, I realized because I also tested again, my omega-3 index is above 10%, and if it's
What?
above 10%, yeah,
Like
so if
good.
it's
I'm
above
like, I'm
8%.
struggling to get to 7.
Yeah, so you need to be above 8 to reduce
Yes,
chronic disease. But
exactly.
if you're above 10, your recovery
Good.
time is cut
Oh
in
my God.
half. So I can do great mountaineering, and the next day
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, and in the afternoon I can start again. So I
Well, the
really feel that even,
mountaineering, I think, I'm sorry, that your choice of activity, it gives the body like kind of mild stress and, because you're having all these challenges. So it's so good for
yeah,
your brain to be in that state because adversity always ends up with something better. I used to think the
yeah,
opposite, that complacency was where you wanted to be to grow from, but no, you need a little bit of,
no,
like healthy stress, right? Healthy challenge.
yeah, it's healthy,
Really,
but I'm much more relaxed.
yeah,
I'm really more in ease, and really I feel also more my body, right? I'm just so much more focused, I'm more connected. But again, this is just like developed over the time.
it's part
And
of
I
what
just like, yeah.
I think your story is so valuable because it's one of the key things people can do to improve their health, I think. I fought it a long
Mhm.
time. I don't want fish oil. It grossed me out. I got one thing of krill that smelled so bad. It just
Yeah.
traumatized me. But now I have a great krill oil. It made my profile move up. Nothing had ever done that
Yeah.
before. So I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
believer.
Yeah. And let's say um with that balance oil, what we have, it's not only a pure fish oil, it's a combination with olive oil and fish oil or algae oil. It depends if you go for the vegan version or not. So what the researchers have found out, that in nature the omega-3 is protected by the polyphenols. So,
Right.
and the
Yes.
polyphenols are in early harvest olive oil. So when they extract the omega-3, they immediately add the olive oil, and then it will go through the stability test. So then it doesn't get rancid. So this is because the problem with omega-3 is that it oxidizes quite quickly,
Very
and you can
fast. Right.
smell
Right.
it. Yes, because you can, when it smells like fish or fishy, and then it's actually not good. It's more toxic than, and then you kind of pay money for your good intention, but
Right.
the effect on the body is not so good.
So
Yeah.
you're involved with selling a supplement. What is the name of it? Is it an
It's
oil
from,
capsule?
you can choose. There are different,
Do you think the liquid's
variations. So
better?
that,
Do you prefer taking
so
a liquid or a capsule?
Well, I personally prefer the liquid, the oil,
Yeah,
because first of all, it's really customized. So first of all, if you're a certain age, like if you're kids or adults, so there's a different measurement, and it's also times body weight. So if
okay.
you're 100 kilos, so I can count in kilos, or 50, it makes a difference, right? So it's
Yeah,
0.50 milliliter times your body weight. So with the oil, you can be really personalized. And I think it has a great taste. So sometimes I use it in my salad, or just pure after the breakfast, or I put it in my porridge. You can be creative. But of course, there are other clients that they really don't like any oil, then they take a capsule.
yeah.
But the capsule is just like, the dosage is not perfectly to your weight, it's just approximately to your
Like a
weight.
standard.
So one capsule is for 30 kilos, so you're either 30, 60, or 90, and if you're between, you have to take maybe two and then three, and so
Right.
yeah.
That's better
But
for
again, like
travel. They're better for travel, the capsules.
exactly when I
Yeah.
travel or when I'm in the mountains for a longer time,
Right.
then I take the capsules. But for my daily intake,
Yeah.
I personally prefer the oil. And then there are people who cannot absorb oil. Then there's a water-based version, or for the kids, you can also put that in a juice. So there are three different options, or four. Then there's also like a vegan option.
How do you know if you can't absorb oil? I wonder, what would that
You
be?
can,
What would be a symptom of that?
so this is what you figure out through the test and retest.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you do your first
Right. If you
test
don't
and then
absorb it,
you
you're
do
not
your
going to have
second,
any. Yeah. Won't
exactly, and
go.
it's not improving. So a client actually had that issue that it didn't improve, and then they found out they couldn't absorb oil, and then you can take something to break through the oil, or you change to the water-based one, and then 1 month later, all her values were on green. So it's just
Wow.
like you learn more about your body through that
Right.
test and retest. So it's really important to do both the test and the retest, because then you see the progress. What you also can see from that test is, are you eating too much meat for your body? Are you eating too many
Oh,
eggs? So,
really?
or
I need to
maybe,
know that. I think I eat way too many eggs. That's like my main
yeah,
protein.
or for example, when you use a lot of plant oils like sunflower oils, we can see that in the test.
Yeah, I
And
bet
people
you can with
are
the sixes
surprised.
shoot up. The sixes go up.
Yeah, exactly. So everything which lasts long is involved, like there's this omega-6 in that. So I said
What?
all the convenience food is full of omega-6. So really do not take any omega-6 supplements, because there's so much omega-6 already in the regular nutrition. It's very important. Like, do not take any combination with an omega-6 and 3 product, for sure not, because you have a lot of omega-6 already in everyday life.
Well, I'm a big fan of Udo Erasmus, who wrote incredible books about fat and the different. That was how I learned about it. And I actually got to hear him speak once, and he was saying how I needed to drink a quarter cup of oil every day. This was flaxseed oil. And his knowledge was revolutionary then. I'd never even heard of omega-3s. And I said, that's not
Yeah.
possible. He says, you're fat phobic. But then I
Yes, and
learned, I mean, it's so valuable. And omega-3s, omega-6s everywhere. I agree. That's why I didn't buy his balanced oil, because why do I need six? I get six everywhere. So I bought
yeah,
the
yeah.
pure for the three.
Yeah,
So
but the important, like the balance oil, what we have is not with the 6. It's with the omega-3
perfect.
and the polyphenols. So that is
A little bit
important.
of
So
nine for the olive oil, a little bit of nine, omega-9 and 3, right? And no
yeah,
six.
so like
That's brilliant.
so the omega-6, omega-9 is also part of the essential fatty acids. And then when you get the results of your test, it's like 20 pages, and they go through the protection value. They do the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, the omega-3 index, and this is and also like your cell membrane fluidity, sorry. It's like how your
Yes.
cells are
Permeability.
function, because
The
yeah, because
permeability, yes.
the task of a cell is like to take in nutritions and to get rid of all the toxin. So this is when a cell is function in the regular way. It should be like a sponge.
Exactly.
But what happens if the cell does not get enough or not the right nutritions, then it's almost like it gets much harder, and like you can imagine it's like a golf ball instead of a sponge. And what happens, when it's like a golf ball, then you cannot even take the nutritions in, but you also cannot get rid of your toxin. So
Not a
again,
good
the
picture.
piece of everything is really like that you get in balance, that your cells, and you have like 30 billion cells in your body. So imagine if the 30 billion cells are not working, it will cause some irritation. And this is all called like the silent inflammation, which leads to chronic inflammation and then chronic disease. It's important. It's not happening overnight. So
No,
this is
long
important.
term, right? Long term
But it's
effect.
a long term, and it's a silent process. And then we just realize when we have a lot of inflammation in our body, you know, and for me, it's also important to understand why is omega-6 as important as omega-3. So omega-6 is not bad, but you should not have too much of that, because the omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. So when you're sick, you need omega-6 to get the virus out of your body. You know, it's like a fire, right? The symbol of a fire.
Oh,
And the omega-3, you know, is anti-inflammatory.
got it.
So to heal the wound or whatever, for this you need both. You need the omega-6 to get everything out. It's like the fire, and the omega-3 is a fire brigade. Is it the who's fixing the fire? How do you call him again? The
The
fire
fireman, the fire department.
fireman. Sorry, fireman. Yes. Yeah. So like, there's a fireman, and then for people, like, what does it mean? A ratio? You should have a ratio of 3 to 1. So you can have 3 fires in your body and 1 fireman. But imagine if you have 30 fires and you only have 1 fireman.
Oh, that's a good way to
This
look
is
at
when
it.
you understand the word of inflammation, because
It's
you cannot control all 30 fires with 1 fireman.
right. And honestly, the way we eat, a lot of us with prepared foods, with processed foods, they're very high in omega-6. They use a lot of seed oils. They use high fructose
Yeah,
corn syrup. They use everything inflammatory. It's amazing. We don't like burst into flame when we walk around because of the inflammation.
exactly.
Seriously. And why are we
It's
taught?
again all the extra fire, you know. The more omega you eat, the more fire you have.
It
Okay,
has
if
to
you
be
have more fire, you
education.
need more firemen, right? So this is
Edu
it should be logic and easy, but I think there's a lot of education which is missing,
yes,
unfortunately.
yes. And I really
Yeah.
realized that when I read Dr. Stephen Gundry's book, The Plant Paradox. Have you read that? And when
No, I've heard about it. Yes, it's a great book.
he describes the microbiome, and it was so fascinating to me. I'm an artist too, and I was like visualizing, it was like science fiction about what's going on in our gut. It's like 100
Yeah,
trillion cells, and it's like you're in charge of a large condominium, and the good gut buddies that keep you healthy want to keep it neat and clean, and then the gut gangsters come in when you eat poorly. And I started doing
yeah,
animations because of that. I was so inspired. But
yeah.
most people, when they see them, they either don't understand it or they have no interest. It's astonishing to me. I mean, a
I think
lot of
it's
people are getting more interest,
overwhelming.
but it's slow, huh?
Yeah. But I think it's a bit overwhelming to people, because like you know, like, imagine how many hours you spend to read through all the books and talk, and it's a lot of knowledge. You need to understand it properly, right? So you need to invest a lot of time. So when people are first hearing about, like, essential fatty acid, what is it, or what does it mean, and why do I need it, right? I think it takes a lot of education. And what you said with the microbiome, I mean, for us, it's important first to bring your cells back in balance. And then the second one is the microbiome, because 70% of the immune system is related to your microbiome. And we have a powder where you need to feed your microbiome with
What
the
they
right,
want, what they want.
yeah, what they want. And sometimes we say it's almost like, you know, they have different tastes. They want, let's say, if you're at a restaurant, right, they want Chinese, Italian, Thai, and whatever. So you have the different needs in your gut. So they want some Chinese bacteria, like, I'm just as a picture, right? They want some Italian, and so on. So you need different uh, probiotica to feed them, right? They need different things. And this is a really powerful powder which supports your microbiome to really high, you know, this is so important for everything. It's also important for weight loss, you know, because many people ask me, like, how do you stay in shape? And one reason to stay in shape is to eat exactly what your body needs.
Right. Absolutely. You have to listen to your body and you have to really observe how you feel after you eat certain foods because your body will let you know pretty quickly if you pay attention. And
Exactly. And then,
yeah,
yeah,
I like what you're saying. And I think it is a matter of education and even knowing what's going on in your body and that there were organisms that require things that I didn't know they wanted. I mean, yeah, I would have bought certain lettuces and I would have bought radicchio had I known my lower intestine really loves that. I would have bought it over the years. I would have, you just, it's education, I think. And I think we're getting more, involved in taking responsibility for our own health, like we were talking about. So I think that bodes well for the future. What is in your powder? Is it prebiotics or probiotics or postbiotics or everything?
no, it's prebiotics.
Prebiotic?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's yeah, how you feed your gut.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
I actually take prebiotics.
yeah, yeah. So this
And
is more
yeah,
important. The one is like to build up the bacteria, and the other one is to feed them. And again, you need different components to get all their taste,
so
because
it's
yeah.
the pre is to build up and the pro is to feed them, right? Is that, I'm not
No,
sure.
no,
I've been reading about
the
it.
pro is to build up, and the pre is to feed it.
Okay.
Sorry, you know how you can know you confuse. Oh, no, sorry, no, sorry, you
I have
confuse
a
it.
habit of that.
The probiotic, sorry, and we have a probiotic is to feed your gut. I'm sorry, yeah, disclaimer.
No,
Sometimes I
you're
get,
fine.
yeah,
We're fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd like to ask you what kind of diet, what kind of nutrition works for you? Are you mostly plant-based? Do you eat animal protein as well? And
Well, I try different things. I went from a very short vegan time because for me it was too complicated, but I also felt my body needs something different. So then I went to vegetarian, then I went to more like low carb. I think I've tried everything
huh?
in the last 40 years. What I really now choose is like I eat what I want. Like it is like try to
Awesome.
eat 80 to 90% healthy, but I don't limit myself. If I want to eat an ice cream, I eat an ice. If I want to eat chocolate, I eat chocolate. Because what I realized when I was very strict, I was super strict for 2 months. Then I said, like, maybe I have one piece of chocolate, and I think I ate, I don't know, half a kilo of chocolate right away. So, and but again, I think it's very personal, but I think don't limit yourself, but be conscious about it, right? If I had a day where I've eaten not so healthy, then I try to be better the next day. Or for example, when I travel a lot, I take my multivitamin on top because then I don't get enough nutritions into my body, especially when you travel, when you go to these JT events, like you have no time
Right,
and
right, at
they
all.
start from morning till late night. And what you eat is not the healthiest food, then I supplement even more, right? If I eat at home, I supplement a bit less, but I always have my basics. The basic is my oil and my powder, right? This is my basic. And then I add like the multivitamin or like some vitamin D or some saffron to my diet, whatever it needs.
So the oil is an everyday thing. Or do you
Yes,
ever
the
take,
oil is in every day and
okay,
my powder is everyday thing. So
and the
these are the
prebiotic,
two.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's
So this is every
going to
day.
supplement. I would start there. If you're going to
Yeah,
supplement,
yeah.
not doing anything. If you did nothing else, I would do those two plus vitamin D and K and E.
Yes.
C.
Yeah,
But
but then we have a multivitamin in our
okay,
portfolio where you don't need to think, okay, do I need a K and A and whatever, right? So it's so compact, everything you need. It's equivalent of 4 kilos of um, fruits and vegetables. And of course, you're gonna eat some, so you reduce the amount of what you take. So I take one or
yeah.
two capsules of that multivitamin just because it really boosts my energy. But the
So,
most important thing is like the oil to get in balance, because if your cells are not working, then whatever you take in,
Exactly.
it's not as effective as it could be. So it's always a process. And I think it's a mindset to understand you need to supplement because the quality of the food you can buy is not as good as it used to be.
I agree. I agree. And the oils are very pure. I mean,
Yes.
they're monitored, they're checked, they're, verified by independent companies, right?
Yeah. So we
Uh-huh.
also have the GMP certification. So this is the same certification than all the drugs have. And this is the highest standard you can have. So in the supplement industry, this is an exception that we have such a high standard. Because
Awesome.
if you have the same, if you don't have that certification, the GMP sign, then you can say, oh, we have X amount of milligram of this and this in there, but the truth can variance by almost 40%,
Oh,
you know?
really?
So
Okay.
unless you have the GMP sign, then it can only varies by a maximum of 5%. And this is important to know.
Yeah,
So if
know what you're
it's not
getting.
like, if you don't have that official that sign or certification on it, then maybe they're a little bit off what is really in there. And unfortunately, this is a bit
That's
yeah,
a
I
big
don't think this
range.
is
40% is a big,
yeah.
yeah. And they're
And
not
and I
responsible. They're not responsible because they don't have that. That's it. That's interesting.
exactly. Then they can say, you know what, we were within the guidelines, and this is true. So when they say they're within the guidelines, it's true because they didn't have the GMP certification on that. But once you have the GMP certification on it, then you have to be really true what you have, what's in it.
So the fish,
And I think
I'm sorry, the marine oil in your supplement, is it krill or is it from where you're
no, this is
from, which seems like better fish, maybe? Like
so
the
it's
North Sea?
yeah, it's it's um the fish are from the north part of Norway, and it's also these are the small fishes. They don't really live long, so they only last for or they only live for one season, and this is where they take the fish oil from.
So is it like a
So
farm or are they wild caught?
this is wild caught.
They're wild caught, perfect. So that's really what I really look for is wild caught and
And nevertheless,
oh,
what is important for the, let's say, if everyone knows omega-3 is important and everybody wants to take it, you know, let's say we assume everybody understands why they need to take it and everybody wants to take it. There's not enough fish in this world
good point.
to give everyone the quality of the omega-3 they need. So the future is more the plant-based, like not the plant-based, the algae one,
That makes a lot of
right?
sense. Yeah.
So in the future, they're gonna invest more and more into how to grow algae in that environment. So this is the direction everyone needs to go because there's not enough
You're right.
fish for everyone in the world.
So I guess I'm sure there's scientists working on the algae now to take it into the
Yes.
future. I'm sure. And maybe I should try it again because this doctor in California said to me, well, if you don't mind brain fog, go ahead and take algae oil. I'm like, I do mind brain fog. I do mind brain fog,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
could try it, and you know how people, it's kind of that psychosomatic kind of response. I
No,
didn't,
but is actually true because it's a lack of omega-3, which is causing brain fog. So one of my clients also had brain fog, and within 2 weeks, the brain fog was gone.
when he started supplementing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I am supplementing, but I'm going to try the algae. I'm not really worried about it. I don't think I'll get brain fog from taking it once every now and then. I think it'll be good. It's good to change things up. I think it's good to change supplements. It's good to change your routine with it. And that, just like anything, your body does better if it's not so accustomed
Yeah, yeah.
to
I
it.
think what I always recommend is everyone to do the test with, to do the test to
Absolutely.
see where they are, because then you can see, okay, is your current product working or is it not working? If it's not working, I would switch to another product. If it's working, great, continue.
Right. Right. Well, like I'm actually looking forward to trying your product because I want to get up to 10. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And I was so excited when
Yes.
I finally moved. I mean, I was doing plant-based year after year, and it wouldn't go up. I started taking fish oil and
Yeah.
it goes to 7. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
takes
because it's
took me a
4
while.
omega-3 acids, right? The first one is plant-based, the other 3 are marine-based. And again, if you don't get the marine-based up, then of course you cannot get the nutritions you need just from the plant-based one. But you can take algae, so you don't have to eat or take fish oil. So
So you're
this is
not right.
important.
That is it's a good alternative. And I
Yeah, and especially people are vegan and they, and it's important they have a great source for omega-3.
I agree because it is totally so necessary. What do you think about vitamin D? How much of that's in your supplement, your daily?
Yeah, so it's in the balance oil. There's some vitamin D there in too.
Oh, good.
Winter time, I take some additional vitamin D because I don't get enough sun. If I get a lot of sun, then there's enough in the oil.
Okay.
But during winter time, I always supplement. I also I work with a menopause coach, and she also told me like during the menopause you need extra vitamin D. I think it depends on where you are in your life. Maybe you need extra vitamin D. But for this, we also have a test, so you can first check where is your vitamin D level,
Okay.
and then you see how much you need.
Awesome. Awesome.
You need extra or not.
So as far
I'm a fan of everything which is test based because otherwise it comes like, oh, it's good for you, and I always question, how do you know it's good for me? So with
exactly,
that test,
exactly.
with a different test, I can really check, okay, is it true or not? But everyone is different. Some people don't need a test. Um, I think it's beneficial because you can prove something. But again, some people say, hey, I feel the effect. I don't need to do a test. So it's up to you what you need.
I think testing is a very important facet of self-health care because you could be rolling along and feeling great and your insulin is not so good and you don't always know, before it
Yeah.
gets too late and it's too high and things start happening. Because it's kind of like behind the curtain a little bit. Like but they always, I don't know how it is in Switzerland, but in the US, they always test your blood glucose. Well, it has to stay within a range
Yeah.
or you're going down quickly. But the insulin's kind of the elephant in the room to me. You need to know
Yeah.
what's going on. And I think the same with omega-3s. You need to know your profile because there's so much benefit.
Yes.
There's so much benefit to be derived from supplementing. More on that
Mm.
supplement than probably any other supplement, don't you think, as far as improvements to health? It shows great
Yeah.
ones. And then not having enough shows a slow ride to maybe illness or not great health when
Exactly.
you're older.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's inflammation, the silent inflammation becoming chronic inflammation and then chronic disease. And I think it's also the easiest one, right? If you think about like, okay, you have one shot of olive oil with fish oil or algae oil. First of all, it doesn't taste like algae or fish oil. This is important because otherwise you don't like to take it.
It doesn't taste like
But no, but so first of all, like it should be easy to integrate it in your life, and it's really easy. It's a small shot, and you either add it to your food or you take it pure. So this is number one. And I think when you can do something organic and you can do something, just with food, why would you take some official, like some drugs, like you don't need drugs. I think at least from my perspective, I think you should first see what you can do with food and with supplements before I would change to some drugs, because drugs are chemical and chemical is never good for your body. I mean, this is logic. So why don't you try first everything with nature? And
right.
then if you
Absolutely.
need support, of course, for certain things you need something else. But I think we need to think differently. Well, what can we do from nature, like natural support? And it's not always like we wait until we get sick and then we take the drugs, and then from the drugs we have this side effect and this side effect, and then we whatever, right? So rather think about prevention. What can I do? And prevention is not only the supplements, it's like getting enough sleep, doing some steps and some walks. It's, it's not with only that omega-3 your life is changing, but it supports your life. I think it's just a major component of a healthy life.
Absolutely. It's a longevity lifestyle. You have to
Yeah.
always start with what you eat. I used to think it was like 40% exercise, 60% diet, but I've been reassured many times it's more like 90% diet and 10%
Yeah.
exercise. I'm a little on the fence on that, but still, whatever you eat has such an effect. And I think we're not really taught that either. So I think people are becoming more aware of that. And I hope so anyway, because it has such effects. And there's a lot of foods we don't eat at all that our body really does need. But how do we know that? And how do we find out that? Another thing I thought was really interesting was something I read about WGAs, wheat germ agglutinins. Have you heard of that? Wheat germ agglutinins,
Yes, but
tiny lectin for whole grains, which I always thought was healthier and I was getting more fiber. And then I find out these little lectins can pry between cells in your intestinal wall and cause inflammation. Who knew? I mean, just things like that. And then you realize, well, the Asians refine their rice to get the hull off. Maybe that has something to do with it. And the Italians and the French refine the flour, down to so it was so pure.
mm,
Anyway, I'm getting a little off track, but I'm just saying we need to pass down what we learn. And I think maybe with the internet era, that'll stay more in front of people. The things
yes.
learn about diet, like Italians didn't
And
eat
then there are
potatoes, but
lies, exactly.
uh-huh.
What you're saying, there's so many lies about what you need, It's and I also, the more the better. It's not true. Do not overload your body with too much, because it should be like take what your body needs, but don't do more than your body needs. Like,
You're
let's
so
say
right.
if
You're so right.
you
We
if
overeat
you drink your,
terribly.
yeah, no, it's with everything. Like if you drink your whole bottle of oil every day, it's not that your health will accelerate. It's too much.
Right.
So just take
Exactly.
as much as your body needs. And I think if you follow that, like it's at the end like the dosage, which is like the poison, and it's important. Take what your body needs. Don't overdo it. Why would you add so much supplements into your life? I mean, I have seen people, and this is crazy, where they have taken 20 different pills a day. And I was like, oh my God, do you think this is good for you? And they're like, oh, this is just what I regular take. And then I take this and this on top. And I'm like, don't you think there's something wrong? He's like, no, but if I take more of this and this, and I take this and this, no, stop doing that. See what your body needs, and take only what your body needs. You don't have to overdo it. And I think then everything is in proportion.
I think where a lot of people in my country, in the US, do way too much is take too much food in. I
Oh, yeah.
think when you were saying that, I thought you were talking more about food, but I'm just thinking, if you think about the size of your stomach and the size of what's on your plate, where does it go? I mean, it amazes me that people eat as much as we do and as frequently too. I think we eat too frequently. Our bodies don't give our digestive system a rest. So I've started
Yeah.
intermittent fasting to give a little more space to my digestive system and everything. And I have a lot more energy. I feel really good. And then like you said, you make good choices most of the time, but you're not going to deny yourself everything. We live in a time of great foods. And it's a very
Yeah.
social event too. So I do well with the 80-20, 80% healthy choices, 20% debacles
I
or
think
fun.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and you need to have fun, Otherwise, if you go with your friends and you want to have a drink, have a drink. I mean, I rarely drink like alcohol, But when I have like a glass of prosecco, then I want to enjoy it. You know, I don't want to say, oh, it's bad. Of course,
Right.
alcohol is bad, but then I want to enjoy it, and then I enjoy it. And I don't say, oh, this is really bad. No, I'm like, okay, I'm out with my friends. I have a glass of prosecco, but I don't need to drink a whole bottle of prosecco. And I think the same, you know, even when I have a dinner with my partner, he's like, oh, should we order a bottle of wine? I'm like, well, how about we order a bottle of water and we add 2 glasses for each, because it's just like for the flavor, and that is
Right.
good enough. And then it took some time to get into this habit, because you always used to drink more, and you do more, and you eat more. And it's with everything. Like we eat too much, we drink too much, you know, and
Yes, sir.
we can we you can have everything just in proportion, right? So
Absolutely.
I don't limit
Absolutely.
myself. I can have everything I want, but I don't want overdo it. And I think uh, I follow your rule. 80/20 is great, because there are some days when you travel and you eat junk food maybe all day. Well, but if you eat the rest of the week and the rest of the months pretty healthy, who cares,
But
right? Your body also can absorb it, you know?
I'm really so interested in what you do as an athlete because you climb mountains and you climbed a volcano and you live in Switzerland, which is the perfect place for someone who loves to do that. When did that interest start
Yeah.
with the little girl and you were climbing then? I mean, is this a lifelong kind of thing?
Now, I think I always was a sporty girl, right? Because my mom is a sports teacher, and I guess she grew me up like you have to do sport. This is important to for your longevity and everything. So but I always loved sport, and I always loved the nature. But I grew up in Germany, and I liked the mountains. I liked skiing, but I think the mountaineering really started when I moved to Switzerland about 10 years ago. And
Okay.
because they're right in front of me, I can go every weekend. And then I started like from hiking and a lot of ski touring, where you climb up with the skins anywhere on any mountain and then you ski
Oh,
down. This
oh,
became a
that's
huge
fun.
passion.
Yeah.
And you're by yourself, or like not, mostly you go with someone, like with your partner, with your friends, or with my ski touring club. So that became a huge passion, and I really focus a lot on ski touring, and pretty much every weekend I'm out in the mountains. And then it was just yeah, I think 3 or 4 years ago, when I more got into like mountaineering, like high mountaineering. So I started to climb my first 4,000 peaks, but I wasn't so good with the height. So the higher I go up, I'm getting quite slow, and I had some difficulties. But I loved it to be on top of the summit, and on top of that. And then I challenged myself, and I went out of my comfort zone, and I trained more, and then yeah, I tried more. I did more. I started some climbing. I'm not great there yet, but everything helps to, especially on the high mountaineering. So now in wintertime, I go ski touring. And in summertime, I do high mountaineering.
That's amazing.
And then last year, it was really, the year before, I already climbed to 4,000. Last year, I climbed 4,000.
Wow.
But part of it is because my health improved a lot, and and because my recovery time is now reduced, so I can do more and I can train more. So, and by doing so, then I can actually climb more mountains because I recover really fast.
Symbiotic. It's symbiotic.
Oh yes, and then a friend of mine came to me last year. She's like, "Oh, I want to go to Chile and climb
Oh,
this volcano."
what?
So this is the highest volcano worldwide you can climb. It's almost 7,000. And I was a bit afraid, because me and the height is always a bit challenging. But yeah, we were a group of 6, and 3 came to the top, and I was one of them.
Wow. Was it really arduous?
But
Was it really hard to get up, to walk The climb.
Yes, it's a process. It's not a one climb up, it's a process. So within, like, I was already preparing 1 week before with my friends. So we were already in Chile. We did some smaller peaks, and then the whole expedition is 2 weeks. And then from there, you started, the first time you stay overnight at 2,400, then you
Oh,
go up 3,500, and then you sleep at 3,500, then you climb some 4,000 peaks, then you sleep at 4,500 or 4,000, and then you start climbing 5,000 peaks and 6,000 peaks, and
wow.
then you sleep almost at 5,000, and then you climb the 7,000 peak. So
How
it's
long
a
did you
process. It's
sleep?
up
I'm
and
sorry.
down
Uh-huh. I'm
for
sorry.
the acclimatization process.
How long did you sleep when you stopped to sleep?
Well, you don't sleep so great
I was
on
wondering.
these
That's what the air's
altitudes.
thin. Yeah.
Yeah, the air is very thin. It's a bit like you're a bit nervous and the air is very thin. So sometimes you sleep a little bit better, sometimes a little bit less, but as long as you lie down, you relax.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, and during this time, I've taken a bit more of our saffron capsules to relax because mine was running, and this is a good product for me to relax. So I've taken that on top to the next to the omega-3 oil because the climbs are quite hard,
Sounds like it.
and
It really does.
you don't want to have sore muscles, right? Because when you're totally
Right.
exhausted, you cannot the next day. Of course, it's a mix of supplements, certain training and preparation, and a lot of mindset.
Yes.
How you prepare yourself. How do you visualize everything that you come to the top? Because it's not easy because the whole expedition, the 2 weeks are kind of like tailored that you want to climb that summit, that big summit. You're
That
climbing a lot
one.
of small,
Right.
but like your ultimate goal is like you want to be on the top of that volcano. But what happens, right, if you don't reach it, because again, there are so many different reasons why you cannot reach it, and it's not given that you reach it. It's not, I mean,
Right.
of course, you're trying your best to prepare and, to do certain smaller peaks before, but it's not given that you reach it. And how do you deal with your frustration, or how do you deal when it gets really hard? And it is really, and this is what I've learned, it is about your mindset. Because before I came to the crater, that was almost on 6,500, and I was so exhausted, or 6,600.
Really.
I was so exhausted. I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't breathe anymore. I even didn't want to drink anymore, and I hardly have eaten. So the higher you go up, less hungry you are. And
Uh-huh.
I was so exhausted that the guy said, like, you need to drink and eat something. I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry. And he's like, it doesn't matter. You need to eat and drink. So I kind of like just put something in my mouth. I'm like, okay, you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to drink. And then he said, like, well, now you do the last part. And I'm like, what do you mean the last part? I'm exhausted.
Oh, you were
I,
at the
you
rim.
know,
That wasn't it wasn't
moving,
enough?
Yeah. And then he's like, no, you need to go to the top and you can do it. And it's like, no, it's not possible. And then he's like, yes, the last meters is always a mind game. Whatever you think, will happen.
Oh my God.
And then he said, like, you can do it, you can do it. And out of a sudden, my mind shifted. I stood up, and then I like started walking, and I reached the other part of the group, and then I climbed up the mountain.
Wow. That's a good story. You shifted
Yeah, and
your
then
mindset
yeah, and
and
I
you're
I can
exhausted
tell
and you
you,
managed you did it. That's amazing.
yeah, but it's what is more amazing is actually that story. I brought that back as my own gift, right, for this year, and I took it back in business. So, and then like they had so many challenges in my job where I'm heading up a sales team, a global sales team, and then I remembered you can do it, whatever you want, and then everything is possible. So
Yes.
that mind shift or mind game or like that experience I had in the mountains completely changed my working life too.
That's so
And
interesting. Yeah,
I feel, you know, I'm not afraid of things anymore, because I know I can do it and I can trust myself, because sometimes you think you cannot do, but you have enough resources to walk. Maybe you don't
right.
work perfectly anymore, but you have enough resource. And I think we sometimes we don't trust ourselves anymore. We're like, oh, this is a challenge and maybe I cannot do that. And you have to be confident, confident in yourself. You can do it. And when you put all your mindset and the strengths to that, check what else is possible in life. And that session, I mean, or that moment I had and on the volcano, it was like
That's
real
awesome.
life changing for me. And this
Yes,
is what I want to tell other people, and hopefully your community. Trust yourself, and you can do more than you think you can do.